Now arriving at Ilios. Ready for battle.
Alright everyone, looking at UCI. Good way to end the season, tough opponent, but you know, it's good to just take a peek at these, see what we can learn from these. Even if we didn't win, you know, make sure we're not wasting any time and get some value out of these games, because we probably wouldn't usually get to scrim teams like this anyway. I'm just going to do a little bit of every match, try to keep this not too long. I'm feeling pretty tired today.
Ready for battle.
So it's okay if we're going to turtle for a bit, but we need to get control of this. Okay. We should be getting the Lucy on the Hanzo up here. Not really any good reason to be camping 5 guys in cage, because they're just going to surround us. Right, their Ashe just gets so much more value because this guy can sit here, and you're basically playing mirror. I mean, she's a little bit better at the long range with the accuracy, but you can also just one-shot her if you hit her. So you gotta play this and at least try to match this, because you don't have any fall-off damage. And you see what Supreme is doing here, Ian? You could also be up here. Like, you could... You know, if your team needs heals, they just back up this way and they get healed. Just this positioning with our backline versus their positioning with our backline. Right, this is some elementary stuff that teams like UCI just understand without having to be told. And you know, just for your benefit as players going forward, right? Like these are the little things that are gonna make a big difference down the road. Right, like guys like these just know to come out here and to come out here, and they don't even bother to stack and cage. And it seems like a little thing, but it's a big thing. Fundamentals. Don't underrate them. All right, because like now this guy's just gonna sit here for free and just pound away. There's what am I gonna say? There's no off angle. There's no dilemma. There's no demanding of attention anywhere else. Plus, our Ana isn't at risk of getting run over by their tank, and theirs is not at all. So just even without seeing any kind of combat and fight, like none of that's mechanics. We don't care about mechanics here. It's just they're in a better position than we are, because their instinct is to just individually as players get in a spot that sets up better angles and better high grounds for their team. Right. So good team macro really comes down to just individual instinct at the end of the day.
The objective is now active.
Like, how are you going to kill these people? You're not. You just can't. Ana's going to pump heals indefinitely. And we're just going to get pushed out. Because why? Like, none of this matters. We're not going to talk about not hitting the shots and not hitting the cooldowns. Like, none of this matters because we didn't get somebody up here, you know, trying to peek this high ground, or trying to maybe peek the left side of the pillar and make this Ashe do something else other than just shoot our team. Make the Sigma do something else and just shoot our team. Alright, we did nothing the whole fight with the Hanzo, because just our positioning was off. And this guy was chilling. So we've talked about this before, maybe not with this crew, but if you remember last semester when we had Peter, right? And like if they're stacked here, you don't really have to fight this. I guess since you don't have a monkey, it is a little bit tough to attack this opposite high ground. But you don't really have to force this. And it can be quite expensive to do so. I think if you're gonna go high ground, you definitely need somebody to go cage. So it's like you're probably gonna send 1, 2, 3 guys this way, and then maybe you definitely want to send your Hanzo that way, get an off angle, and your Ana probably has to just play bridge. And then you're just like your Lucio tries to get a boop, doesn't work out, doubles bag, goes to your Hanzo, and your Ana's just gonna pocket top. right? But you're not going to take this high ground running 5 guys through a small door. This is never going to work. Somebody has to go this way. And if you know, if it feels like I'm repeating myself, it's just I kind of have been all semester, you know. And it's when we're under pressure, under stress, like sometimes we forget about this kind of stuff. And the difference between us and the best teams is they don't like they understand this in their bones. Okay, they understand. Hey, we're not gonna go 5 guys up top. We're gonna have somebody go around. Because the problem with this, and the reason why we get away with this against lower ranked teams, is like, yeah, you can't just mechanically match them. Maybe we can just mechanically overpower them. You run 5 guys to the door, and the enemy makes a mistake. But really good players won't make a mistake. Okay, you can't just count on just out mechanicking them in a fist fight going through like with a disadvantaged position like this, just shoving 5 guys through a door. It's not gonna work. So you have to tilt the battlefield in your favor a little bit better by demanding some attention on the flanks. Right, these people right now are not playing the game, and arguably Ian's barely playing the game. I mean, he's pocketing his tank. Like, all you can really do here, Ben, is try to speed your team out, get a boop off, and then you're done, and then you go this way. You try to help your off angle. Right, but we're not thinking about how we're gonna take space away from this enemy. We're just thinking about shoving 5 guys through a door, and it's you know, at this point, like I'm a broken record, right? But this is the progress that we need to be making. And even if it's a little bit late for this semester, all the guys who are coming back next semester, you know, it's stuff you could be working on. And if you're gonna play beyond your time at Cal, you can take this stuff with you. It'll help you in the long run, I promise. But if we get complacent and say, hey, you know, we don't need to pay attention to angles, we don't need to pay attention to high grounds, we just shove 5 guys to the door and cross our fingers. Well, then that's gonna happen every time. Okay, we're at a point where, like, yeah, we've gotten good enough to where we can beat most of the teams that are not like serious contenders, but we're not beating the really really good teams. And why? Like, we're not taking this kind of shit seriously. You know, we're kind of sitting on our laurels and saying, hey, you know, it's good enough right now. And I get, you know, if you're okay with that, I guess it's true. But if you want to get better, you gotta look a little bit deeper and ask, what more can you give? What more can you clean up? What more can you pattern in so you don't have to think about it so hard and make it such a big operation, right? Just like running 5 guys through one small door like this, that's just like instant sign of lack of strategic thinking. Nobody's thinking like, hey, I didn't go this way. Nobody's thinking, hey, maybe I need to touch point. Like Ben, if you spend your team top and you're like, all right, see you later, and I'm just gonna come back here, go down here, and go touch point. Like, that would be a better play than sitting here and doing what you did, which is basically nothing. Right? If you did this, somebody would have to come get you. Maybe they're Lucio at least. Might force a C9. Then you get to a situation where you're like 1v1ing a Lucio, and yeah, things get a little bit weird from there. But we need to try to make a play other than brute force. Let's see if we do something differently this time. Okay, so now we're flanking somebody, but this is not the guy we want to flank. Okay, like Andrew, I've gotten on you a billion times about taking a smarter off angle, and we're still not doing it. Right, and Finn's like, someone's got an off angle. Well, it's not the Mei. Because the Mei is slow, the Mei doesn't really have range, and the Mei wall is going to be a lot better getting you out of the... Like, you just wall here and you walk out, that's a much better wall. This is a weird solo queue desperation play because nobody else is going to make this play. And that shouldn't happen in a team environment. Right, when everybody knows what needs to happen and has been told a billion times from this perspective about why we need to take concaves, this should not happen. Because people need to take more collective responsibility. I don't know what's going on. Okay, retouch, speed to point. Like, ironically, if you had just gone under and just like walled this and sped the point a couple of times, I'd be more okay with that, because at least you're trying to play the objective and you're not trying to fight the enemy where they're strong, which is tank with a wall and high ground support in the back line. Trying to shove through a choke, like that's terrible. Okay, you're gonna burn all your cooldowns just trying to take this choke, which is not that important. And you could just avoid that and go point. On this particular map, because the point is so offset from center, and like the point is not. If the point was here, like obviously you have to go top, right? If the point was here, you cannot stand on point and not die. The point's over there, so you could actually bait a lot of attention by sending a couple guys this way, like just speed your tank, your maid this way, and then like you can leave your Ana and your Hans like pretty far back and just play cage. That would be more okay than what we were doing. So, not thinking about angles, not thinking about objective, and we just brute force into a tiny choke 3 or 4 times and just die.
Ready for battle. Ready for battle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 2.
So if they want to turtle that, like... Oh wait, that's us. Never mind. I was gonna say, what's going on? Yeah, I don't think there's any world in which we ever go this way. I think we've always gone coast. The only reason why you don't go coast is if you're afraid to have a Widow that you can't diff. Which I guess might be the case here, but do we think they're gonna play Widow? Yeah, we should not be doing that.
The objective is now.
Yeah, especially since we're not going to play the Mei comp now. If we're going to switch off the Mei, okay, we really do have to go and clear pillars. So I like this, right? Getting a Hanzo on that flank, and then we shove one guy this way, and eventually where the goal is to just clear off the entire coast side. Unlucky that happens. Like, we don't care about that, right? This kind of shit happens. Now, that being said, this is why it has been, back when we were hard grinding for the land, this is why it's so important for you to think a little bit about where you need to be, right? I mean, again, you're graduating, so it's like, you know, I don't need to break your balls about this, but if you're gonna plan more teams, OD, whatever, solo key after this, right? Like, this picture is what we've been trying to work on the last year or so. Okay, where you look at this picture and you go, who actually needs help in your team here? And if you just take a look around, okay, what are you expecting to do here? Not much. I mean, maybe you'll speed your tank away if he needs help, but he really shouldn't go in here anyway. He's playing against a Mei comp. He doesn't want, like, he should be going wide. Okay, the issue why this happens is because Andrew needs to be up here contesting the wide angle, and he can't really do that without some help. Like, if he takes any kind of chip damage, he needs to get topped off, which means you should be somewhere around here. Right? So that if you see the entire enemy team swing that way, you can double back and help, but your default is to be closer to the guy who needs your help immediately, and if you help your Hanzo hold this off angle, Finn probably doesn't die randomly, because now XCal's looking at this. He might even come at Andrew and try to fight him. Okay, in which case it's a 1v2, and hopefully you win that. Maybe their Lucio even comes and peels, and now it's a 2v2. Hopefully you win that. Right, because now you got 2v2 over here, and now you got guys who are then trying to fill in the void. Right, well, they push up, they leave a void, we push into that void. So by being here, you help your Hanzo make space, draw attention, and that gives your tank more room to walk in. But right now, like this kind of stuff, you can say it's unlucky, and it kind of is, but it can be avoided if we're taking a little bit more proactivity on the angles, and Andrew's playing too far back, and part of that is because he feels like he has no help. So, yeah, this is a little bit of a Hawaiian vacation gameplay here. You know, it's like there's not urgency on, hey, I need to be doing something a little more important than this. I need to figure out what's the most valuable thing to do. How can I take the most amount of space with my kit while help your Hanzo hold the off angle? Right, your Ana's not under threat right now. They have no dive tanks. You don't need to be sitting on your Ana. They have no dive characters. And the rest of this fight's kind of whatever. Right, and I'm not saying this kind of stuff to, again, like, this is basically the last VOD review of the school year at this point. So I'm not saying this stuff to, like, to flame you now that the season's over. It's just moving forward, especially the guys who are going to be here for the long term. I don't want you to look at a game like this and go, it was unwinnable. They were just better than us. Okay? Because even in a game like this, there's a lot of stuff I'm pointing out where if we fix those things, this game would have been a lot closer and maybe even winnable. But if you just give up and say it's not winnable, and then we just troll by running 5 guys into a choke and not taking off angles, right? Not trying to hold the concave or the off angle, not helping the off angle with our supports, not being proactive about those things that I know you guys all know about. Well, we've been talking about it since September at least, right? If we don't do that, then yeah, these games aren't winnable. But that's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like, just take a little bit of ownership and a little bit of initiative, and the first step to being able to win these games and being able to compete in these games is believing that you have agency over the outcome. Believing that if you do something different and better, then these guys that, oh, it's UCI, they're scholarship players. Yeah, well, make them sweat, make them work for it. Okay, and that's on you as individuals to take that step and challenge yourselves to get these guys running for their money. And if you just say, oh no, this match is unwinnable, so whatever happened doesn't matter, which is the impression I got from certain people that I talked to, then that's where you're going to be. Whether it's here at Cal or whether it's whatever team you go to, and you guys have it in you to be a lot better of a team and a lot better of individual players. But that takes you wanting it first and taking that responsibility on yourself and asking yourself what more could you have done? Because I promise you there was a lot. This was not just a mechanical roll that was not winnable, right? And I'm showing you every single fight you've lost so far, somebody fucked something up. And it's usually something very simple and very just stupid. Like, hey, nobody took an off angle. Hey, we went 5 guys for a door. Hey, nobody took the high ground. Nobody touched point. Nobody demanded any attention away from their backline. And they just fired almost randomly into a choke and they killed somebody. And now we're just like, at this point, you could be like, oh yeah, we're getting rolled. Well, you lost like 2 or 3 fights in a row for kind of just silly reasons. Like Finn overextended here. You don't need to be shoving resources this deep off point. We know that already. And then we didn't take any coast control, any coast pressure, so Finn got picked randomly, which that wasn't really his fault, but it was kind of a team failure. And now you're super behind an ult economy now, and then you can write this up and go, oh, they're just better than us. No, they have more ults. They have more ults because we jacked up the first couple of fights, and it's a deep hole to come out of. All right, but I want more agency. Like, why are we even going here without Finn? What in the world's going on here? Okay, it's 4v4. I guess that's reasonable. But if it's 4v4, right? Like, what am I gonna say about this? Right? You cannot walk out through this door without your Hanzo being top here. Right? Without your Lucio probably also helping him go top. Because now at least if you get walled here, the wall's not that bad. You have help. Right? Lucio can boop, heal you, do whatever he needs to do, and then go back and help Hanzo. But we're not doing. It's like it's kind of ironic that the higher elo that you play and the higher that you scrim, the more it comes down to who has the better basics and fundamentals. I know, because this doesn't come down to like, oh, you didn't hit some crazy cooldown. It's like, no, you walked out of a freaking choke without checking where your backline was, without letting your backline get on some kind of angle, preferably this one. And it's like, it seems simple, and in the heat of the moment, it probably isn't because things are moving so fast. But like, it's that weird paradox where it really does come down to just the basics, because the best players get the basics right.
Victory is inevitable.
And again, I'm not saying that to troll you. I'm just saying I'm not trying to discourage you. Right? You got to make sure you get that distinction. It's that you see this and go, wow, that was kind of dumb. But if I fix that, then we can make a game out of this against one of the best teams, probably the best team on the West Coast. And that should give you excitement and some level of hope, because it's there, but you got to want it. You can't write it off. Anyway, none of this really matters. They have like a billion ults, and I guess we do too, but desperation touch. Alright, we dropped 5 ults to win this, and now we have 0 ults, so they're just gonna walk us over. You know, it's like, it's that simple. Don't need to make a dissertation out of this. Anyway, I'm gonna move on to the next map. Said all I need to say on that one. Couple fights with Shambali. A couple fights on
Ready for battle.
maybe like a couple fights in Coliseum.
Ready for battle.
Don't think I'm gonna see anything new at this point, so
Ready. 1.
just see what this looks like.
Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Yeah, this is some pretty basic stuff. 1 guy touch point, 4 guys like Lucio stay point, 4 guys go top. Nope, somebody needs to stay point. Alright, if somebody was here, I would ask you what the problem with the situation is, and the problem is, and you know, like, forgive me if I sound a little bit irritated, but if you're gonna shove 5 guys through a choke and give them no reason to look anywhere else, you're all gonna die. Because look at the arrows. It's a meme at this point, but look at the arrows. You're pushing into a high ground. X-Cal's gonna hard flank you because nobody's scouting that side. Because like nope, right? You got 5 guys in a straight line going through a choke. There's no way. And if you lose this fight, like here's the problem. Here's the bigger problem. If you lose this fight, this card has not moved at all. And if you win this fight, you got to go back and push car all the way here, and they're gonna be able to retake at like this corner. You know, they're gonna be able to set up and have everybody back before the car even hits this corner. So they're going to be able to take Mega. They're going to be able to set up on the coast, and they're going to be able to set up in house and coast and here, have this kind of concave, and this corner is going to be freaking miserable. All right, as opposed to you just leave your Lucio here, and even if you lose, at least you lose in the carts here, and that's an acceptable loss. Whereas if you lose it now, this is an unacceptable loss. That's way too much card distance. They're giving up. Right, they're not looking at anything else, they're just shooting at you in a choke. X-Cal's got a hard flank. Hey, look, this guy's trying to make a proactive play. He should be punished for this, honestly, but yeah, a little bit unlucky. So why does Andre die? Okay, you guys think I'm just memeing, but where are the supports looking, and what are they not looking at? Why did that happen? Somebody created a dilemma. Somebody created the off angle. Somebody made a proactive play. What did we not do? We did not push cart. We did not give him any reason to shoot cart, touch cart, look at cart, do anything about that. Lucio was here. He would have caught this, by the way. The only reason this guy does this is because he's not afraid. He saw nobody on cart, so it's like he knows all this is free. This is vacated space that he's just gonna walk into. Yeah, basics. So now we're gonna do this, and see, the cart could have gotten here last time, even if you lost, and now you don't have to worry about this so much. Right now, you just go this way, and then your Lucio forks off, pushes cart, while the other 4 guys push top. Right, so you're trying to, all you're trying to do is get attention off cart and get cart progress, objective-based gameplay, right? That's what we started talking about in January. But our response to losing high ground was just not trying to fight high ground for some reason, which is also not the move. You know, we just need to get guys here. Like, we got our Hanzo here, and we're feeling pretty good about ourselves. All right, we got our Ana here, we're feeling pretty good about ourselves. So you get everybody here, you have your Lucio and cart. Once you clear this, your tank can drop, and you have your Ana and Hanzo on high ground. Then this corner is 1, or it should be 1. But your Ana is doing God knows what in the low ground, getting shot in the face because we did not bother to go high ground. Basic stuff, guys. Yeah, and there's not much more to say about this, right? We're standing in a choke and they're surrounding us. This on is getting free nades. Why? We're looking that way. Here's an off angle. Boom. Where's our off angle? It doesn't exist. Do I coach Doom or Sario at all? I mean, I can look at you. I'm a on the individual micro stuff. I'm more of a main tank player, and the last couple of years I've been doing collegiate, so high GM, full team, 5v5 stuff. So if you're curious, I could look at your stuff for you. I'm not gonna say pretend I'm a Doom expert, but a lot of the fundamental ideas of space making on tank, I can definitely understand enough to. It depends on what rank you are too, but I might be able to help you out. Okay, like we've fallen asleep, guys. This is AFK gameplay now. We're like, we lost high ground once. Let's not bother. And like, you know what? We're just gonna get punished for it now. Like we're acting like we don't know what to do. We don't know what we're doing when we really should. We talked about this a billion times, and we're just not doing it. And again, like, I'd want to reiterate, you can take that as me flaming you, or you can take that as me challenging you to expect a little bit more of yourself, especially the guys who are going to be here next semester, because these games are not unwinnable. Okay, these teams, like UCI, they're good. They're not so good that we can't make a game out of it. You guys are all GM1 players, I think. Right? And you're smart enough, and we've worked on these enough. You understand the concepts, but you're not asking yourself to implement them in practice. Maybe because you think I'm full of shit. Maybe because you think it's not important enough. And I've tried to prove to the contrary over and over and over again. So at some point, you guys need to internalize this and just take it to heart, or find another coach who's gonna feed you strategy that you're more okay with. You're more okay with adjusting. Right, but like, I'm showing you how UCI is beating you, and it's not because they're pulling off some crazy 360 headshots. We're just not taking space from them the right way. We're vacating all the off angles. We're not clearing high grounds. We walk 5 guys through a choke, and we die. It's that simple. Higher we get, more the fundamentals matter. Okay, so we're going to play this comp. I really hope for the love of God that we're not going to sit our Hanzo down main like this. Like, we need Andrew to come out this way, and the Hanzo that wins this outside angle, preferably with some Lucio help, okay, is the Hanzo that wins this point. Because the Hanzo that it's like you're a freaking mountain goat, just butting heads, fighting for this territory, and the Hanzo that wins this territory earns the right to creep forward into these corners and shoot into the enemy off angle. Right, and that means that all of this space they cannot stand in, so they have to back up, and that makes space for your team to take bot. It's not all on your tank to make space. And I've said this every single bot review I've ever done with you guys. Space is made by juggling that attention and that responsibility, right, between the front line and the flanks. But the way we're playing this, we are expecting ourselves to just win the mechanical battle and shoot people in the face. And if you're expecting that against guys who are literally like 4,700, even if you were 46, 4,700, that's not how you would win that game. Okay, because those guys didn't get there by playing that game. Because the higher you get, you're playing against people who are as good or better than you. So why should you expect to just dominate them mechanically? You shouldn't. You got to be smarter, right? You got to try to make your advantages. You got to create those opportunities. So it's not just like, oh, they're better than us, and we got boom. It's like,